Now, oh, that's it. Oh, and then the mother of these children is small, maybe about 4.5 feet tall, elongated head with this gold headpiece, which the gold headpiece doesn't cover her whole head. It's just like lines of gold that attach, like a crown sort of. And she rides a donkey. And she's like, oh, this is how you build a pyramid. Boom, here you go. Oh, this is how you built this. Boop, here you go. Oh, this is how you do this. Yep, here you go. And I say pyramid because I remote viewed the pyramids while they were being built or being finished being built, which they were working on the last section at the top, which, you know how like a castle, like in the old movies, has like the top watchtower where it's like the bricks are a little bit, there's a taller brick, shorter brick, taller brick, shorter brick, all the way around the top of it's just like that for the pyramids. That's how I saw they built it. I don't know how they built it, but I saw that how the end of it looked before they put the top piece on. I didn't see the top piece. All I saw was a blue sky and the pyramids, and I was like, and snapped out of it, just like I saw the triangle one. That is the interpretation of what I saw. Her riding the donkey and saying, oh, with her little stick, wand, whatever, oh, this is how you build this. Oop, she ride around all like prancy and like, well, this is how you build this. And I can communicate with her somewhat. But all she really says is, oh, baby. That's all she says. Oh, baby. Like, don't forget, these are my children. And I worked a lot of long years, way before this planet was ever in existence or something. And that's just how it is. So I didn't see any battles on these planets. I didn't see any, they weren't arguing. They weren't fussing, but I'm sure it happened or it didn't. And how every planet did it is how the other planets did it. You don't really, it's not like okay, two's got a one world religion, one world or their politics or something. Three's got the fuel source and they're making people work all day. And they're fed well, or they weren't, and now there's new people are feeding people. I don't know. Four's got the trees. You either cut a deal with three or didn't. Or they traveled there, another traveled there to two, and now they're traveling into one. I don't know. Five's all plastic, but on two's planet, they ain't got no plastic. I said I wouldn't talk about the religion. I said I wouldn't. On fifth planet, it's all plastic. Good, let them do their thing. They're happy. Didn't seem like it was too crazy. Sixth planet, I don't know. I forgot. Sorry. Seventh planet is the Jurassic planet, which, oh yeah, on the top of their tower that houses the baby, it's either yellow, white, a gray skin with the belly buttons. It's in an orange fluid. It's orange. That about summarizes everything. And I call never mind what I call the woman on the other side. But it's like gotta be nice with them, kind of don't. But I will say this. Yes, I'll disclose it because Earth needs to know this. There is an intergalactic intelligence community they're large-headed. Oopsies, and they have suits with briefcases and ties. Never mind the color of the tie, it doesn't matter. Or they were doing it for aesthetics. I believe that intelligence intergalactic community is not playing both sides, but somehow messaging and kind of keeping everything in order. I believe that to be true. They are highly secretive. I've only met one. He's just carrying a briefcase. That is about all I have. Don't really know too much about them or where they come from. That's the feeling I got. And it appears that Earth is still rotating. We all have loved ones, families, food, shelter, and if you don't, you're loved, and we're trying our best. And yes, I believe if we have religion, it makes us stronger as a planet with multiple religions. I believe this to be true. And one day, if we all come together, we might be able to find this thing called world peace. So, find that in your communities, in your towns, in your homes, in your room, your houses, at the playgrounds, in the schools, libraries, amusement parks, anywhere. Try to find that thing. Because we are not alone in this universe. And there could be millions of chains out there that I'm not aware of. And we're all after these things called uninhabited planets. And they're not free. And I guarantee you they're already found. All of them. So, also, past month or so, I've been trying to recruit other planets. And a lot of them are like, do not enter. We don't want to play that. Or we're just happy alone. So, that's a thing. That's it. So, that's all I have for the planet scenes, the chains, and the very powerful children. That's a thing. So, I'll take a quick break. I appreciate you listening to the podcast. Working on about 100 minutes. Yeah, I don't know. About an hour and a half. And then I'll get back to some more stuff. And I really appreciate you listening. Please, like I said before, like and subscribe. Link in bio. Or don't. And I'll continue on in a few minutes. Thank you. Hey, welcome back. The next chapter is black holes. And I kind of went, a little back and forth. I went off in a little tangent away from the book, but here's a little excerpt from the book about black holes. This chapter will be very short as it is hard to explain. I'd like to draw all this out with diagrams and pictures, and it'll be much simpler to describe. I will say that smaller black holes can be generated through compiling large amounts of mass within the human body and forcing it below towards the center of the earth. Not easy to type in words or describe on a podcast, but I'll try my best. I also am guessing that these similar collapses are called primordial black holes. I don't guess often, but I will also mention that deja vu is one passing by without notice. That is what I think deja vu is. Oh, just missed one. Good luck finding it. This is just a hypothesis, and I cannot verify it, but it is worth noting. I have deja vu maybe once every 2 months, but it may not be relative. I've only seen one black hole, which is very tiny. At this time, I felt like I was pulling on the whole earth. Somehow it just appeared as I was laying down looking at the wall one night. It spiraled clockwise, but was almost invisible. As it grew and expanded, I began to see another invisible line go through it, and at the bottom and the top of the line was collapsing as well. So, like I said, going through that black hole. That's about it. I don't have any other experiences with black holes. I know that it was very tiny. It generated sporadically. I didn't have deja vu, so I can't say that the two are related, but I think that's possible. I read a few, like a book on it, a couple different podcasts I heard, but nothing. None of the black holes looked similar to this thing that I saw. Although, maybe a movie was kind of similar, but none of it had that line through it. There's a straight line, and then imagine a flat horizon line, and you take the top half of it and the bottom half of it, and you smush them together, and you keep smushing and smushing on that horizon line, and in the center of the horizon line is a spiraling black hole, which appears to be moving but stays the same size. How? I don't know how. I thought it would be growing, but it's just moving. Very strange. The next night, I was remote viewing and went through the black hole, and it was gigantic. How big? Ooh, maybe a mile or two wide. It probably much larger. Actually, I don't even know what length is there in that thing, but you just travel through it slowly. I thought you'd be warped into like spaghetti or something like that, or pull out under like a string or something. That didn't happen. You didn't travel through those things safely, or you can't. Why? Because science has shown us in the books and stuff that light can't escape it. The mass is so dense at the end of a star's life that it just collapses in on itself. And at the center of every galaxy, there could be a black hole. Sagittarius A, maybe the Milky Way's black hole. Everything is circled around this thing as we're traveling through the universe. I believe that's accurate. But if you were to hypothetically remote view or astral projection, I don't know what that is called, through one of those things, then this might happen. But if you were doing it in the third dimension, you'd probably go through a spaghetti and come out like a blob or something, and you wouldn't survive. That's a possibility. No human can verify that. We haven't sent a satellite to the center of our galaxy. That would take a long amount of time, many light years. So that chapter is very short because it's beyond my comprehension as a human. That's about it. Next chapter is on time. I'll read a sentence from it. This next section will also be very short. It is confusing, and I will try my best to elaborate on it as best as I am capable of doing so. Time. I would say it's like an hourglass. Kind of like a figure 8, maybe, hourglass thing. Just goes on and on and on forever, and you keep going in this thing. There's a before, a present, and a forward. We are in the present but I have the capability of speaking to the past. Never mind what are those things, I'm keeping those things to myself. Spoken to a human in the past, which means that human was alive at one point, probably getting dreams about me in the forward times. I don't call it the future, I call it the forward times, because while that person was alive in the before times or past, that person was speaking to me in the forward times. Why? Because I'm speaking to him in the present times from the before times, the past. Now I'm in the present, in the third dimension, speaking to things in the forward times, which means in the future is their present times, speaking to me, or they're speaking to me in their before time, which is my present. So it gets confusing. I'm alive still. So that means when I pass away, I'll no longer be able to speak to them in the forward times because I'm not alive to do so. Why? Because every time I've spoken to somebody in the before time, they've been alive. Which means that every time I'm speaking to someone in the forward times, in the present, they're alive right now, but they haven't been born yet. Does that make sense? I'm speaking to extraterrestrials in the present time. How do I know this? In my heart, I know this. Like, without a doubt, 100%, they're in the third dimension, awake right now on their planet. I don't like to give away too much, but on Two's planet, they have flying cars in the city. Where Two, the gentleman, he's got big shoulders and what appears to be some sort of shoulder pads. This gentleman has a younger son, nephew, younger relative that's younger, and he is going to take the throne of Two's planet. Now that didn't chair. He's going to take the leadership charge eventually. So he's in some sort of training, and that's who I've been communicating with the most. What does he do? He stands with his hands behind his back, and he kind of just like looks out into the city of his flying cars, and there's no traffic jams, there's nothing, and they're on. It seems to be not on autopilot, it seems to be manual, and they're just flying. And I get a very short, like view of that, not much. On one occasion, I was sorry to sideline the time chapter, but I have to mention this. I was remote viewing, and then I was standing remote viewing, and then turned, and then ran in face to face with Two's younger nephew or son. And we both smacked, whoa, smacked like a mirror or something. And I jumped back. I fell on the ground. I was like, can I get up? Oh, gosh. And I got up and I was like, whoa, I just came face to face with Two's younger sibling. He did the same thing. I don't think he fell back, but he whoa. He'd never seen anything like. Maybe he hasn't seen a human. So that's that. And I will say, to end the chapter on time, it is consistent in the sense that Earth time may not be the same as their time on their planets, but it's something very similar. And where we go when we pass away, I don't have many comments on that. I try to keep the religion things out of it, but we got to keep the religion thing going. We have to. The more you pray, the more you do nice things for your neighbors, the more you try to make what is it? Atonement, grace, all those things that religion teaches us, our sins can be forgiven. Those things are good. It makes our earth more stronger. In a sense, we have a melting pot of those things, as opposed to maybe one world religion. I don't know. There's always been conflict over this since the dawn of time, practically. Know that I don't necessarily choose a specific religion. I enjoy like all of them simultaneously. And I've gone through periods of my life where I don't believe in any of them. So I know what that's like too. And that's perfectly fine. That's equally as strong in my view. Because we're all human. We all have that decision. We're born with that thing called free will. So that's it on time. Next chapter is on remote viewing. I could write several dozen pages on this topic, but I choose to keep it to myself for the time being. I enjoyed this topic the most since it is my greatest gift I have ever taught myself. Let's see. I've always had premonitions, intuitions. In my earlier stages, I'd have like prophecy foretellings and stuff and future predictions, but I steer from that now. I don't look into the future and see like something ahead that's bad or good. I've learned to keep that out of the equation and just try to find life forms. Sometimes like when I was a little bit younger in this stage, it would come out awkward in like pictures. Similar to like an ink blob. What does it look like? You remember? Okay, you everyone remember in school? If you didn't or you did, they did an experiment or not experiment. Did a research study on. Okay, what does this have? Think of this picture of the classroom. What does this have? Think of this picture of the classroom. It's the same picture. Is it an old lady or is it a young lady? It's the most genius picture I've ever seen. It's the same thing. Everyone sees something different off first impression. What is that called? Your brain is processing an image that it either knows or doesn't know, and off first glance, it's something. Your brain processes that very, very quickly based off everything you've encountered in your whole life. Or just off a glance. Hey, it looks like this. Looks like an old woman. Looks like a younger woman. I don't know. There is the same thing for me. That when I see ink blobs, see an oil stain in the ground, I'll see like it's like a doodle or something on the wall. They all appear to be children wearing hats or like in some sort of infant in a basket, or not a basket, like some, you know what I'm saying, like a carriage, and they're all wearing hats. It's like old school hats. Very unique. And for remote viewing, I would say if you choose to or you don't, it's entirely up to you. It's not for everyone. You just lay back, close your eyes, try to see things, or you don't. And that's all I got. Last chapter in the book is on dimensions. I'll read a few sentences. We are living in the third dimension. from what I've been taught in school, and that's accurate. I could feel, I can smell, I can taste, I can hear, I can see. There's colors, there's different flavors in my taste buds. There's pain, there's ow, that hurt. It's my funny bone, it's not funny. There's like I get pinched, it hurts, or I crack a knuckle. It I feel that in the third dimension. We are living in the third dimension. Here's an excerpt. I have several other dimensions that I would like. I have seen several other dimensions, but one in particular stands out significantly. It is completely black with an almost hopscotch feel to it. Now, I reach these places by remote viewing. There are many categories of dimensions that are not the third that I can reach, but this one stands out the most, where it's just all black, all of it. And yeah, there's like a hopscotch feel to it on some ends. There's entities in this dimension that don't require oxygen, food, water. It is ironic that this dimension has these entities that only have one eyeball and that can communicate with them. Most of them seem pleasant. Some of them can be mistaken for not pleasant, just like planet number 3 has those beings that may not appear so friendly, but they are. They're living. They have families. They have children just like us, but they just look different. So you got to be kind. You got to be mature. You got to be smart. You got to be friendly. There's another dimension that is similar to, how would I say, do you remember as a child you'd have those, I guess maybe for like Christmas or Easter, those little puzzles where you'd slide the little square over and you move the other square up, move that square over and that one up, and it makes a picture? It's just like that, where that is happening consistently. It's like moving around consistently, and the locations differ the further you go into that dimension. And this is entirely sober. No drugs, no alcohol, no tobacco, no hallucinogens, specifically sober. It has to be that way. This dimension, I don't have names for all of these dimensions, but I'll just give you two. The hopscotch dimension, and then this one is like a pixelated dimension. There's one entity that I've seen twice now. I've seen this entity twice. It starts up on the wall and goes down the wall like you seen those robot vacuums that clean the floors when you're not home? Really impressive. It's just like that thing. And it goes down the wall and back up the wall and around. And I don't know what this entity is or if he's vacuuming or not, but he looks very similar to that. I didn't get no bad energy from it. I was just observing. It's like, okay, next. But it's extraordinary. But I'm so used to it, it's like, that's pretty good. I had to keep going. Same thing. That's with dimensions. And it gets like confusing, hurts your brain somewhat. But I've noticed, like last week, I was doing this. And I come home from work, tired, whatever. Still gotta do this thing, I guess. I'm looking in this dimension and I snap out of my remote viewing session and I see on my bed an eyeball. Huh? An eyeball. Well, not a normal human eyeball, but had like a greenish, yellowish with a little pupil in the center. Like I was remote viewing with my eyes closed, this the other dimension, and I open my eyes, I see the eyeball. And as soon as I see the eyeball, it closes. Like it's like, oh, he sees me. So imagine that. Another dimension is peering in on the third dimension. It's exciting. It's exhilarating. Enthralling. I don't even know I don't know any other words. It's amazing. Remarkable. Delightful. All those words. I opened up my eye. I saw the eyeball and it closed. Not a hello, not a goodbye, not a thank you, just close. And I'm wondering if it sees my eyeball in these other dimensions. But the thing is, those entities don't look at me. Why? Because I might close my eyeball. So, that being said, that's the gist of my book, but you'll have to read it. It's not very long, but it took me maybe 30 something years, something basically. To compile everything. Every bit of my existence is in 10 pages, so you're getting that. The next part I'll go into is one of the most remarkable situations I've ever encountered. Two's planet, the blue one closest to ours, has a feminine extraterrestrial, and I've never said this. Ever. Her cranium doesn't go backwards. It goes straight up. She has wrinkles on her foreheads. On her forehead is wrinkled. Her eyeballs are vertical. Her nose is tiny and her mouth is small. Did she have ears? I didn't draw it after that night. But I'll say this. A normal night. Everything was chill. I fell asleep. I was in the house alone. And I woke up and didn't have any dreams. It's unusual. I went back to sleep. And had a dream. In this dream, I was in low Earth orbit. Now, how far away from that is Earth? I don't know. I'm not a science major yet. I was in low Earth orbit in outer space for the first time in my life in a dream. And I was face to face, probably maybe 10 feet away, give or take. Maybe less. No, way less. Maybe 5 feet from this extraterrestrial. And I haven't named any of them. But I call her Hope. She was blue, purple, and pink. Her eyes were horizontal in all black. Maybe, let's say, probably about the length or the height of my computer screen. Let's say about probably a little more than 12 inches. Her eyes, width probably 4 inches. Her nose very tiny. She had a kind of a half smirk smile. Didn't show her teeth, but she never made eye contact with me. And she had holographic makeup. Holographic makeup, which was like a pinkish, bluish, whitish something. As I looked at her, my jaw dropped in my dream. I was like, huh? And she pointed. She didn't even look at me. She was like, this probably happens to all of them. She reached up and pointed, but I could only see from her shoulder down. Only see from her shoulder down. She pointed to the right with her right finger. She had phalanges and knuckles and a nail. I think. I should have drawn it, but she had a nail. She pointed very slowly. And I turned my head, but in space, I guess you can't turn that quickly. So I'm like this, like slow, slow, slow. Whoa. It was Earth she pointed at. It was North America and South America. Probably saying, that's where you're from. Where you're going to start looking, just remember you're from here, you idiot. She didn't say that, but I'm just trying to be funny. A little humor. She pointed. And I could see the clouds and like the ocean and North America and South America. She must have known us from somewhere in that areas. So the strange thing was what was on the perimeter of Earth or on the outside of it was this, like, you know how there's heat on a blacktop on a hot summer day and it gives that like that invisible look from heat. It's the same thing. It circled the Earth in some sort of like shield. Where I'm guessing 2 has a lock on Earth, which is like, you're not going to be getting many visitors. And if you do, they're spies or something, and they're only going to come in and out. Kind of like, you know how like documentaries film like wildlife? Same thing. I'm assuming any extraterrestrial that's ever came in here is trying to get in and out. Probably like just like nature documentaries. They're just probably like a small group of individuals that, Earthlings, yeah, those documentaries that go in and go out and try to risk their lives for a glimpse of humans. It's the same thing. I guarantee it. If anyone has any questions or comments, please write me. Emails in the link or the bio. Say, hey, what do you think of this one, that video? What do you think of this video? Is this one, what's your take on this? I'd be happy to give all of that. I'm not here to discredit anyone or any organization or agency or government. I'm interested in all that stuff. But I'm doing my own thing. And that's fine. If I had many more experiences, which I have, plenty more, then I will say I'll leave that for further episodes. If there is any other debates that people would like to have, I'd be happy to bring you on. You want to fact check this or that? Let's do that. And I would be more than glad to have conversations with experts in the science field, in the UFO communities, any government official that wants to come on, anybody. I'd be more than glad to do this peacefully. But I'm open to suggestions at this point. Now that I've basically come full circle to this thing called the completion, I'd like to go back to living my life. But I'm still going forward. I've only just the iceberg, the tip of the iceberg I've reached. If any religious associate wants to come on and talk about religion, I'd be more than happy to just sit and listen. Let's hear it. Any UFO enthusiast, anyone who claims to have travel time, anything pseudo like that, I'd love to hear it. Love to hear your guys' stories. So once again, a little bit more production value, a little more quality, a little more peace of mind in my equipment. I'm basically doing this from an undisclosed location on my free time. And I want to hear other stories. I like, all the declassified ones. Let's see here. Project Blue Book was really neat. That was pretty interesting. I don't like name drop documents or anything like this, but that one was pretty unique. What else? The Roswell thing. Those are definitely the green and black ones. That's my opinion. And you can believe it or you cannot believe it. You don't have to subscribe. You can unsubscribe right now if you don't believe that. But I have a lot more to say about this. And all the time in the world to do this as a hobby. Sometimes it's blended over to take over the majority of my time. And I need to take accountability of my own life and take a step back every now and then and live normally. With a subtle understanding of these topics, you can begin to have your own interpretations, your own imagination. And please bring that forward. I want to hear what you have to say. What do you think of this? Do you trust them? Do you don't trust them? Do you want to know more? Sorry, little technical difficulties there. Yeah, do you want to know more? Do you want to elaborate on your side of the story? I want callers to call me. Tell me what they think. They've had any UFOs encounters. I want to hear all that. So I'm going to take a quick break. Try to figure out what the next topic is and go from there. It is March 10th, and I'll say Eastern Time, USA, all the way, and every other country in this world. We can do this day by day. Thank you. Welcome back, listeners. I would also like to hone in on Two's planet a little bit more. When they arrive, they want to exchange food first. Similar how to indigenous people and the pilgrims exchanged wheat, corn, etc. They would like to exchange fruit. Now, this is the big important topic of how they exchange food first. They'll be bringing some of theirs. We'll be presenting some of ours. And I don't know if they're telepathic. So I'd recommend trying to not have any hostility in your mind while exchanging fruit with these things. But I think this is the highest of honor. Now, on Three's planet, they want to exchange a grapefruit from the peach-colored brother who's in charge of planet 3, the black planet that's concealed. They, on planet 2, would like to exchange, it looks like a strawberry, but it's not any strawberry I've ever seen. So, out of respect, maybe we can exchange one of our strawberries. It'd have to be the top. It'd have to be the most perfect strawberry. And I'm assuming our leader, which is probably the president, will present this thing called a strawberry, the perfect strawberry, to these individuals. And of course, obviously, it'll be tested, make sure there's no anything purely organic. It'd be a perfect strawberry. We had to search for the perfect strawberry. Now, I don't know if they're vegetarian or not, but out of respect, I'd say we start with fruit. Some of Two's, what are they? Higher ranking ones. Kind of got wind they might like chicken nuggets. Chicken. But they don't want to freak us out quite yet. But yes, they want chicken. But they don't want to scare us. So we start with fruit, so no one's weirded out. That is a topic of concern when they arrive. So in how many years? I'd say leave that to fate and to time and our religion or whatever. If you don't believe in it, I don't want to intrude on any religious beliefs. So when they arrive, I would suggest fruit first. They have very large strawberries, and I'm assuming they're all natural. That about does it for that. On the 7th planet with the large gargantuan African American individuals that are light skinned, kind of dark skinned, somewhere between that, with the loincloths. I don't know what those individuals eat. I'm sure they're very protein heavy because they're very muscular individuals. But it all comes down to the 2nd planet. They're first in line, which Hope, the extraterrestrial, said that chain on Earth is... They're first for this grand entry. And they want a spectacular grand entry. And unfortunately, I'm sorry to say it, they want some of the trees removed. And that would be like a sign of they just need like a plain field to enter because, well, things could be hiding behind trees. There could be birds. There could be drones. There could be people. We don't know. They're not taking any casualties. So, with that being said, don't be like weirded out. And I've come to many different conclusions in my mind. Oh, do they want all the trees removed so that they can build these other trees? I don't think so. I'm not in belief because I can't verify that until I get word in a dream or awake while remote viewing. So, if I believe that, I would suggest we go around North America, whatever, South America, or all over the world, wherever they come. We get the best fruit and maybe the best chicken. Maybe grass-fed. We'll see. I'm not sure. That about wraps it up for that topic. And I'm going to take a quick break. And I have no notes from this point on. I'm just going off the top of my mind, which is pretty remarkable. I will say that I had another experience awake in the third dimension 2015, maybe midsummer 2015, where I was outside walking at night and I was out for a normal jog. I was running a lot then. My legs were better, my knees were better, I was in better health, better shape. And I was running and I was sprinting and running as fast as I can, I like to sprint. When I run, I'm not doing long distance, save my energy. No, I like to try to exert as much energy as fast as possible. I try to get the best mile time. I try to get the best sprint time, best 50-yard dash, best 100-yard, whatever. I try to do that. That's what I'm impressed with. Long distance is really cool too. You have to conserve energy and do that. I try to sprint. While I was sprinting on this night, 2015, I exerted all my energy. I think at the best time of my life. And when I stopped, I was like, whew. Took a break. I saw an extraterrestrial run past me from right to left. Awake. When that happened, it was just really quickly, right to left. That is my closest encounter. When that happened, I didn't see anyone behind it. And it just ran from right to left out of my field of vision. But much later, I got this entity feeling of, well, I've seen these individuals before. They appear to be human and peaceful. They climb down with ropes from either buildings or trees, but they're entities. They're not real beings. They climb down with ropes and they wear all black cargo something with boots, and you really only see the top of, you don't see the front of their faces sometimes. Some were Caucasian, some were African American, some were like brown skin, light brown skin. And they try not to scare you, but when you look at them, they kind of go away. You look at another one, and their objective is to not frighten you. And I believe these are time traveling entities that are looking for these extraterrestrials that are running around. After I saw that entity run by me that night in 2015, and it was pink, and it was purple, and it was blue, and it just ran by me. Later on, every time I tried to envision that moment in time, I see those men in cargo, black boots, black pants, black t-shirt, something. I see them racing behind it, and like some sort of like cartoon area go behind that thing, like they're trying to capture that thing. Are they holographic forms? I'm sure. Are they holographic images of these things? Probably. But I know in my heart that it was real and that really took place. Haven't seen those things before, or I haven't seen those things in like 10 years. So it's 2026 in the third dimension on Earth. And I'm just telling the truth. There are other things that some books may have gotten correct or incorrect based off my observations, which are these white lightning bolts that may be holographic images from their dimension to our dimension. And I don't believe that they contain an extraterrestrial that landed or any of that stuff. But I do believe that it's silent lightning, and there's no bang, like a bang from the lightning. It's just very silent. It goes, that's it. And I've seen these things, but they always appear to go to trees. In one time, the closest one I ever saw it went straight to the top of a vehicle. A white and black vehicle, to be specific. It was parked and I saw that thing, and at that moment I was harnessing these things very, very frequently. And it kind of gets you discombobulated and incoherent, but I'm pushing through that to get this information, and I do not suggest it to anyone else. It is not safe. But you got to be I would have to be sober. I have to be doing that for these things. And I'm not doing that anymore. Basically got the gist of it, and it's like, okay, that's unique, and kept going. Next, I will say how would I put it? I had a infatuation with an author from a long time ago. I used to like hang around the gravesite of this famous author, and then like I was studying his art, his literature and stuff. And I don't do it again. I don't do it anymore. This is when I was younger. And the visions that I got from this author was he may have passed away in like an alleyway or something. I'm not sure. But there were these people that like made fun of him or something. He used to put him in like put him headfirst in the trash can in the alleyway. Well, that sounds crazy. I know. I don't know. And he also had this dance where he would like lift his knees up and smack his knees like this. And that's pretty cool. And that's about all I got. But he may have been infatuated with birds, just like all the other ones. You know, all the famous people were pretty like Darwin, all the other ones. But there was a few authors that were infatuated with birds specifically. The eye of the bird, you can kind of, well, I can hone in on the eye and then like have something magically, or I call it magically, have something spiritually awakening and get a vision from these things. Can I do it now? I don't really do that anymore. I kind of got the gist of that too. So let's say a bird I did it with, a squirrel, and a rabbit. Try it with other animals, doesn't seem to work. But there is another thing called deer. And these deer appear to be the most significantly remarkably communicatingly possible to transfer informations to extraterrestrials through deer. How? I don't know. But have you ever seen a deer caught in headlights? That's what happens to me. I get caught in headlights. I'm like, eyes go big and I don't know what I'm seeing. The deer are sacred to me. And yeah, of course I've had deer jerky. It's nice. I like deer skin, antlers. And I don't see too many male deer. And where I'm from, deer are very prominent. And to see a male deer, it's pretty significant. It's majestic. It's magical. I like that. What was I going to say next? Spiders appear to be very unique in the sense that they're arachnids. They have 8 legs. I'm not too good with biology and mammals and stuff, all the wording and the lingo and stuff. But I will say that like the black widow spider is really unique. With the hourglass underneath. It reminds me of time. These are all very important insects, mammals, reptiles, aquatic animals, birds, insects, bacteria, something. These things are of a significantly like they're wanted by other planets. They're exotic animals. And I've seen other animals on their planets and it's like nothing I've ever seen. They have this deer that looks like a bear deer or something. Can't describe it. If I were to draw a picture of it, it would be very unique, but I kind of don't remember it because I just keep going. I don't really draw anything. I just keep going. Look. While remote viewing Two's planet, there was like either a message or something. I don't know what it meant, but it had hold on one moment. Okay, we're still going. Sorry. On Two's planet, I'm gonna take a quick break. 1 second.